Today on This Week in Startups, Jon Steinberg, the president of Buzzfeed, is on the program. We'll also take a question or two in the Ask Jason segment, and Mike Bracco will bring us the news. All that and more on today's This Week in Startups.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil, but funny how it feeds my people. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah, we ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Startups. We got a great guest today. Jon Steinberg is the president of Buzzfeed, Buzzfeed.com. You can go take a look at that. And we're going to have some questions in the Ask Jason segment. Mike Bracco will do the news. Of course, we're going to give away one of these beautiful This Week in Startups bags. Very subtle, very beautiful. You can see there on screen. To anybody who thanks our sponsors on their Twitter account, and you'll hear about those sponsors later. Subscribe to us on YouTube. That's really important. Go to youtube.com/thisweekin. We're about a month out from the launch conference. We've got probably a third of the companies picked, really great companies, and this week is the week we select the rest of the candidates. Pretty exciting stuff so far.
Oh, the glory and pageantry of startups.
Oh yes, it's a rough week.
Yeah.
But man, I did maybe a half dozen this morning, and I'll do a dozen after we get out of the show. Really great to hear all these great ideas from entrepreneurs, and people are really pulling out the stops. And if you have something launching at the end of February, you can apply late, because we basically feels like we select one or two a day, and at that pace, it's going to take another 20 days. So, you might get one of those final slots. If you have something great, either 1.0 or 2.0. 1.0, right. Brand new company, brand new product, nobody's ever heard of you before. Just like Mint or PowerSet or Yammer or Fitbit or TripIt, which just got bought. All of those were brand new, and they were on the TechCrunch 50 stage. But we added the 2.0 competition, which is, hey, you're an existing company, and you want to launch a new feature. Next week, I'll be in Germany for the DLD conference, along with a large group of amazing speakers. I see Mike Arrington and other great people will be speaking as well. Interesting. And he'll probably blow it off. That's what he usually does. Confirms as a speaker, and then he blows it off. And we'll be launching Mahalo 4.0 and the rebranding of the company. A lot of exciting things coming next week. And I've been just heads down. You've been heads down trying to get all that in order. So, God, I don't know if we've ever been this busy. Busy time.
Yes.
Busy, busy time. And the one thing that's helping me get through all of this is GoToMeeting by Citrix. I go, every day. I do about 5, 10, 15 meetings on GoToMeeting, and it is flawless. And you can go to GoToMeeting for your 30-day free trial. Just use the promo code START, and as you know, it's unlimited. So it's basically pay one low price, and it's rock solid. We've used it all morning. Mm-hmm. I was using it all weekend. We were here on Saturday. Mm-hmm. We did about 20 GoToMeetings, and it's just great when you're doing one of these demos that we can just focus on the product and not have to worry about, oh my God, are we going to be able to get this working? Am I going to be able to see the other person's screens?
You got the right version of this.
You got the right version, you got the right browser, everything just works. Yeah. They're experts. GoToMeeting, use the promo code START. I love GoToMeeting. It's just like one of those core apps that I just couldn't live without, and I really appreciate them sponsoring independent media like This Week in Startups. So with me on the program, Jon Steinberg, the president of Buzzfeed. He was previously at Google. And before that, Majestic Research, which I believe is the research firms, that whole research thing with hedge funds where you match the experts. We'll have to ask him about that. And he was an EIR at Polaris Ventures before that. He's raised $11.5 million in 2 rounds of funding for the trend aggregator BuzzFeed from a great list of investors who we all know: Ron Conway, Chris Dixon, SoftBank, Hearst, and RRE Ventures, a New York-based firm that you may not have heard of, but it's actually a really good firm. Buzzfeed, of course, was founded by Jonah Peretti, who was also the co-founder of the Huffington Post, along with Ariana. And welcome to the program, Jon.
Jason, thanks so much for having me.
Okay, great. Looks like we have a great audio line here. Tell me, what is the mission of Buzzfeed?
So Buzzfeed is a technology-driven viral advertising company, and one of the things that separates us a little bit is that we have a destination site that has 8 million uniques and 25 million page views. And what we're doing is constantly looking across a partner network of 160 million uniques of partner sites like the Huffington Post and Time and Life and AOL, to see whatever is the most viral content across the web, and that's what we trigger onto the front page of BuzzFeed to make it an engaging site. And we do a similar thing with brand advertisers, brands like GE and Mountain Dew and Focus Features, identifying their most viral content, triggering it onto the front page of BuzzFeed into our in-stream units, and also routing their most viral content around the web.
And so here on BuzzFeed, obviously people are going to find all kinds of goofy stuff, babysitting dogs and celebrity mugshots, but this one here from Popeater, relax Sandra Bullock's banging look is temporary, surging on Popeater. They are a partner or an advertiser?
That's correct. So they are a partner in this case, and we are monitoring all the content on Popeater to see whichever piece of content get the most third-party or social traffic, and that is what we automatically trigger into front pages on BuzzFeed, as well as we provide a dashboard to all of our partners, allowing them to see which pieces of their content are getting the most social traffic, and at an account level across their entire site on a day-by-day basis, how much social third-party traffic are they cultivating.
And so with each of these items that you track, each of the memes, you will see tags go onto them, overlays, I guess. Going viral, will this go viral? Yes. How does your algorithm know if something's going viral? How do you know, what is the benchmark in your definition of viral? And how do you know if something is going to become viral?
So the simplest definition of viral is large amounts of third-party traffic relative to seed traffic, and all of the charts that we provide to brands and to publishers show blue as seed and red as viral. And what we're looking at is how much traffic does a piece of content get relative to overall traffic that's social or third-party referral. And that was really one of the big insights that Jonah had kind of in his earliest days of working on this stuff, is that you put something on the front page, it's going to get a lot of traffic. The real mark of something that's a leading indicator that people want to share, that's going to be hot tomorrow as opposed to yesterday, is that it's getting traffic from sources other than the seeder of the content.
So if I'm getting inbound links from somebody else's blog or Twitter or Facebook, maybe this thing has some legs on it.
Right, and what I like to say is, I mean, we've got stuff, we identify stuff that's hot on our site, you know, on a Monday night, and Wednesday morning it'll be on the Today Show. And exactly, and we weight according to sites, so that if we were to have a site like Mulhollow on this, we'd have to calibrate so that Mulhollow doesn't drown out smaller sites. And
right. Yeah, because we have such a huge base of, that would be our seed, right? Seed would be...
Exactly. We couldn't let your seed or even your social traffic dwarf smaller sites to keep everything kind of equally weighted.
So if if the Mahalo Twitter account, which has some followers, and Mahalo obviously gets a lot of traffic from search, we'd have this huge blue line, but we're looking at this whiskey in a can. The viral lift is the people buzzing around our base of traffic.
Yes, and we throw up those little flags to show you the sources of where those sparks on those different social networks happen, and we make our entire dashboard for the 8 million unique BuzzFeed site public to anyone who wants to look at it. And if you go into there, you're able to see all these different stories. You know, where did the triggers occur? Was it Reddit? Was it an influential blog? Was it another publisher? Was it Facebook? Was it Twitter? So for a publisher, it's very informative, and for a brand, it allows them to see, which variants on the branded content that they've created are working or are not working. And all of the brands now, are increasingly coming with a lot more than banners. It's now videos or campaigns that involve images or articles. I mean, the list just sort of goes on and on. And
so as a company, you have this sort of trend data and this knowledge of trends, and then you monetize it, if I'm hearing correctly, by finding a brand like, say, JetBlue, and I have up the BuzzFeed.com/JetBlue program you ran. And here's JetBlue's brand under the BuzzFeed brand. And these stories here, these are all JetBlue related, or you made videos for them? How does that work?
So it goes across the gamut, really. So in the case of JetBlue will give us 5 videos, and they'll make an ad buy on BuzzFeed. And they'll say, we want to program that ad buy based on virality. We want whichever video is being shared the most at a given time to be what populates our ad buy on Buzzfeed. If you look at a campaign we just did with Lifetime for their tuning campaign for their show Craigslist Killer, and I think the URL is buzzfeed.com/Craigslist Killer. They gave us a lot of leeway to create original, engaging content with a subtle tune-in messaging for the show that followed. And again, we created, I think, 5 or 6 variants of branded content for them, allowing kind of the wisdom of whatever is most viral to program their ad buy on BuzzFeed and across our network. And yeah, so you have it up there on the screen now. And this, it's hard to, for a tuning campaign, it's always hard to, claim credit or anything like that. But they had a blowout on this TV show. They did I think a 5.4, which is very strong for Lifetime. Go ahead.
I was just saying, instead of them just running this ad, on Gawker or other places online where, whatever, Cinematical for Craigslist.Killer, it's actually a pretty good banner ad. You said, hey, let's make something related to the content that's adjacent to it or something, and here's 10 creepy Craigslist ads from potential serial killers, and you basically pulled up things that were super creepy on Craigslist, which then makes me tune into the Craigslist Killer marketing for the Lifetime show. Is that the...
Right, and it varies. And it's such a complicated ecosystem, and there's so many parties in it, and that for a given brand, the amount of creative can really vary. So we do everything from a tuning campaign where the brand approaches us with the creative agency and the media buyer, and they have just a few assets. In some cases, they've already kind of chopped up and created a lot of videos. And in other cases, it's somewhere in between. If you go to buzzfeed.com/absolute, this was a campaign we did a while back. Absolute only had one video that they were using, and what we did was we gave it what I like to call treatments. We attached other videos to it. We embedded a quiz with it. And then we put all 5 of those into our system, and whichever variant of that video, whichever treatment is performing the best, is what gets shown into the ad buy. So we're dealing across the spectrum. The only consistent thing is that every brand now has some level of content, something that is somewhere on the engagement scale.
And so what is actually happening in the advertising space because of virality, let's say? I mean, you have Ted Williams, obviously, the golden-throated pitchman with an addiction problem, featured. And this story seems to have gone in just a number of days from being local television, BuzzFeed, Gawker, everywhere, Twitter, social, and then all of a sudden now he's... doing Kraft macaroni and cheese or something, and he is the voice of it. Are advertisers just universally tuned into viral media? Is this just how they think now, or is it just that there's some few edge cases who are doing it well?
So every advertiser that we talk to now is acutely aware of what they call earned media or impressions plus. Earned media is probably the term most widely used, and the idea being that a view that comes or an engagement that comes from pass along is significantly more valuable than something that's just driven off of a banner or something like that. And what I like to say is that we see advertisers with 2 different approaches. Either they're looking to be sharks, they're looking to create things that kind of move quickly through the online ecosystem, their own viral content. Or the other option that we have for them is that they can be, pilot fish, those little fish that sit on the back of the sharks and eat the scraps after the sharks devour, their kill. And we can provide both solutions because we're identifying so much viral content. If a brand comes to me and says, we want to sponsor all of the most viral sports content, we want to have our branding around that, we can do that. If they come to me and they say we've created 5 different viral videos for our new sneaker, we can give them treatment and put all 5 of those into the system and optimize for the piece that's getting shared the most.
It seems to me that the viral space is being commoditized to a certain extent because you have sites like Huffington Post, Gawker, Business Insider, etc. Something goes viral, they all just take, none of them own the viral content, right? I mean, it's just some piece that was put out there typically from a consumer, whether it's a photo from a celebrity or the video from local news. Who owns all this viral content, and how does copyright play into it or not?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll answer your first question, then I'll answer the copyright question.
Yeah.
On the first question, I think it's a fair point. You're right. Everybody can jump on a story once it's been identified as viral, which is why I think, we tend to focus on being a technology company and bringing this technology to anybody. I mean, you tweeted out at one point, like, BuzzFeed make this viral for me, something that you would put up. And what I would say is, create a channel, put up 5 variants of whatever you want to go viral.
Yeah.
You can monitor how they're performing, and we even provide a self-service tool for you to lend a boost to it. So we're trying to, in a sense, be a tool supplier and a platform for people that want to go viral at some level, as opposed to trying to say, we had it first. Although in a lot of cases we do have it first, and we do have this monitoring network, so it does give us a unique view.
Yeah.
But that's how we're looking to compete.
And it seems to me people are starting to deconstruct what is viral and now manufacture it in advertising campaigns from the get-go. So there was some really good, what do they call it, flash mob. It was a flash mob for Christmas or something, and then it turns out that it was an ad for something. It's terribly disappointing now. Are we running that risk now that this is all being deconstructed by the ad industry, in part by companies like yours that are educating them so well that the whole concept of virality is just going to become the sort of playground of brands?
So so that's not. So we're trying to encourage people not to do that. We're definitely not encouraging people to do flash mobs or stuff like that. What we're basically saying is, instead of trying to create the perfect piece of content, this perfectly produced video that you spend all this time on, create lots of content, put it out there, see what performs well, and then once you identify things that are getting viral lift, put more seeding dollars into it, and also to have a relativistic view of everything. I mean, if you build your entire marketing strategy around things getting a viral lift of 2x, 3x, 4x, that's just you're not going to have an Old Spice man time and time again. The way to make this sustainable is to say, okay, if I get a 1.2 lift or I get a 1.3 lift, that means for every 100,000 views I get 20 or 30,000 views via sharing that are measurable. So we believe in spraying out a lot of seeds, watching which perform, feeding the winners, starving the losers, and don't try to do crazy stunts, because that's not a systematic way to build a marketing program.
Yeah, and so what's the pitch to the partners? My God, it's such an incredible group of them now. Why should they participate? I notice the Gawker network doesn't participate, it seems, but you've got everybody but them in here. Why no Gawker, and what's the decision like for somebody to decide they want to be part of this or not?
So the decision process is twofold. There's definitely an element of us being able to identify whatever their most viral content is and automatically triggering it onto the front page of our site. And we're 8 million uniques. Doesn't make us the biggest site on earth, but we're significant, so we can send a certain amount of traffic to things that we identify on an algorithmic basis. And the other benefit is we provide this dashboard to all of our publisher partners, where they can see across their entire platform whatever is getting the most viral traffic, and on an item-by-item basis, they're able to drill down and see how much viral traffic did each story get, which social networks triggered that kind of viral spark for that particular story, and that's free, and it's a 4K JS script that they put on the footer of their pages. So it's a twofold offering to the publishers.
And how big is the company now? We
are 30 people, will grow to 40 this year.
And advertising is the main revenue stream. Do the partners look at the BuzzFeed site as competitive to theirs, since you do get direct domain traffic? I mean, is that part of the debate they have to take if they're going to participate?
So the sites serve dynamically, so I don't know which page you're looking at now, but if you click on a link in the yellow sponsored areas, or if you click on a partner, it goes directly to their site, so we don't actually host their content. And we haven't gotten a lot of pushback. I think the offering is fairly innocuous. Now you pulled up the dashboard, so you can. That's our dashboard for our site. You can drill in on individual stories. So I think it's an innocuous offering to publishers. We haven't gotten a lot of pushback, and in fact, we made it self-serve for them now, so now anybody can opt into the publisher network. Oh, wow. So it's open to all sites? That's correct. Oh, wow. And looks like Stumbleupon, a tremendous referrer. Obviously, Google, a big referrer. Why is Stumbleupon such a big referrer? Is that typical for you guys? So I think Stumbleupon is one of the secrets of the social world for everybody. I think you talk to anybody in publishing, and Stumbleupon is a big force that not a lot of people talk about. I think for us, Stumbleupon lines up nicely with viral content, just because you're stumbling along. Viral content is by its nature sort of broad and engaging. We're kind of skimming the cream of whatever people are most interested in sharing. So I think we have a nice lineup with Stumbleupon, but I think Stumbleupon is just a tremendous platform for publishers. Period.
Wow, but I mean, it's double, triple almost Google in the last 7 days. Do you guys buy traffic on that network as well, or?
Minimally,
Yeah.
but we do, yes, but minimally.
Is that part of
level.
testing stuff, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, part of our network is, we're in the Facebook Ads API. We buy on Stumble on occasion, and part of our seeding strategy for partners is to dynamically program portions of their buys, onto paid networks.
Interesting. And local news space and just news in general, how much of it is now driven through this? I mean, do you track your stories and then how many wind up on Saturday Night Live? Like, do you say, on Monday morning we had 5 Saturday Night Live references to our stuff? What are the metrics in terms of mainstream media from Buzzfeed?
I think the metric that I've been most focused on and doing case studies on has been the advertising case studies, and it's just been where the focus has been lately, kind of proving out for advertisers what kind of lift we've gotten. I think we've been more anecdotal in terms of looking at how quickly did we get Ted Williams, or was there something that triggered first on our site? Another example would be a lot of the original stuff that we do, we kind of closely monitor for social traffic. So we did this 100 signs of the Rally for Sanity. If you just Google 100 signs of Rally for Sanity, will probably come up. And that was something that one of our editors put together, and that got 100,000 seed views from Buzzfeed, and I think 800,000 or 900,000 views from third-party sources. So we sort of use that as a way of being able to measure how does organic content spread? So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of that 100 image post, you'll be able to click for the data for that piece of content.
Interesting. And so how big of a business is this? I mean, do you think you eventually become like a newfangled version of Dig, or an ad agency that has like a mini Dig or Stumbleupon built into it? What does this business become? Because venture capitalists are investing in it. Obviously, they're not investing, over $10 million in the business to see it become, like a small buzz, blog. What's the big picture here?
No, I think that we've seen a fundamental shift for brands into branded content. I think we have a unique platform to allow brands to do that. And when I comp ourselves and I look at companies that I admire, when I see what Mike Lazaro has done for Buddy Media, I think a lot of what we're trying to do is that for sort of for the open web, for everything but Facebook. So we want to be a technology and tools company, and in working with the Fortune 500 and brand advertisers, creative services are needed. And if we become kind of a giant technology-enabled advertising company, I think that would be spectacular.
And you mentioned before, earned traffic much more valuable than, say, purchase traffic or other forms of traffic. How do you rate that? 10 times, 5 times? You have some estimate of how much more important it is?
Yeah, so let me make one clarification on that. When we do a network buy on behalf of a partner and we extend their campaigns into Facebook or across our partner network, we count that in seed as well. So earned is truly earned. It's unpaid visits that come to a partner's content. I asked on Quora the other day, and I've been trying to kind of figure out exactly what is the number, what is the multiplier, and I think that's a metric that I want to nail down quicker than anybody because it benefits, our business significantly. I don't know what the answer is to that. I think it's at least, 2, 3, 4x. Is it 10x maybe?
Yeah. It feels like that to me. And so if I put a story in here, I can click on the boost and I can pay to try to get extra impressions to it, I see here. This is the offering to publishers.
Yeah, well, this is an offering to anybody, and having worked at Google, and I know that self-service is not a panacea. That very few large advertisers want to self-serve, but we wanted to make an offering available to people, and this has been a nice product for us, and it was a way for us to be able to experiment with a novel pricing algorithm, which is that the more viral your story, the more bonus CPMs that you get. And so effectively your eCPM declines. So it's almost like our own quality score adjuster that we base on virality.
So I would buy these impressions at $3, but I get bonus impressions 8.8 times the viral lift, and it equals much more.
Right. So this is you picked a story that you want to boost a story which has a huge track record of being viral. So yes, you'd get a huge discount and a huge boost in the number of impressions. If you were to launch something fresh, we'll snapshot it very early in the campaign and see how much lift that it's getting, and we can discount even something which is posted new from scratch.
And so, how much of the of large sites do you think is driven by purchasing Stumbleupon traffic, Buzzfeed traffic, and these kind of things? I mean, are those the only two sites that really provide that kind of service right now? You and Stumble? Catalyzing Buzz traffic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think purchasing traffic is really, I don't see it as being a horribly efficient way to grow a site, just because, because you've got to be able to get it on the back end with the CPMs that you're charging on your site. So, I don't know. I mean, for us, we do it occasionally on a story that we think is really hot that we want to spark. We eat our own dog food. If we think that giving a bit of a network buy to a story will help it in our own seed, we'll do that. And similarly, on all of our partner campaigns, we include a network component, just because paid seeding we think is an important part of this. But in terms of just growing an organic blog or something like that, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason is, hey, you have to monetize the traffic at a magnitude more than the click-through rate on the other side of the that you're buying it for. Continued success with Buzzfeed. Anybody can now join, so you can go there and sign up for your own dashboard, grab the JavaScript, and try it on your site. And advertisers can just contact you at John@Buzzfeed. I take it.
Yep.
If they want to try
by the
to.
way, on Majestic. Majestic was not an expert network.
Well, Majestic, I just remembered where Majestic was. Was that Seth Goldstein?
It was.
It was Seth Goldstein. You guys were actually, now that I remember, Seth remembers telling me, counting people coming out of like Walmart or people lined up at Starbucks, like really esoteric data that wasn't trafficked anywhere, correct?
So it was internet data. And then it was also unique data sources. Like we were able to determine one of the deals. I did business development there. One of the deals I did, we were able to determine the number of players. I mean, Jason, you'll like this. Number of players at slot and table games throughout casinos. So we were able to get a read on the performance of the major public casino companies in advance of quarterly earnings. We did the same thing for doctors giving prescriptions on palm tops. It was a data-driven independent research firm that actually just got bought by ITG, but no expert networks there.
Yeah, you know why I thought it was an expert network? I think one of the hedge funds was called Majestic, and that's where I got it transposed. But yeah, really interesting. That was a very interesting business, huh? Like how many? So what do? You just send people into a casino to count the number of people there, literally?
I can't disclose. One of the things I'm not allowed to disclose is how we did it. But for the one we did for healthcare was very simple. We just licensed data that was anonymized that was coming off of prescriptions. And there's a bit of a lag. I mean, certain number of prescriptions that get written, never get filled. But it was statistically we were able to work that out.
I love that kind of stuff. Just finding those like secondary measures.
Info arbitrage.
It's information arbitrage. Continued success with Buzzfeed. Everybody go check it out and sign up. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jason.
Take care.
Thank you, Tyler. Bye.
All right, dude.
All right, we made it through there, even though a little bit of technical difficulties. Good save on the back end there. And hey, listen, if you want to avoid technical problems, you're going to need Sendgrid. Sendgrid is the industry leader in the delivery of transactional emails. Tyler uses it, and so does, I mean, what a list of clients. I'm always blown away when I see that Foursquare uses it because that's such a high-growth company. And you know what a transactional email message is. That's any message that is automatically generated and sent by a web application as a result of a user action. So you sign up for Buzzfeed, hey, they send you a confirmation email. It's important to Buzzfeed, that kind of stuff gets into your email box. Password reset notifications, purchase receipts, shipping notifications, friend and follower requests. You can't afford, if you're running a web-based business, to have these things get lost in spam filters and all other kind of blockers and that kind of stuff. You need 100% delivery, and that's what you're going to get with Sendgrid, essentially. These guys are professionals. They only work on that one problem, and boy, do they nail it.
They made it simple, too.
It's super simple.
You're up and running in no time.
Define no time.
A minute? 2 minutes? I mean,
2 minutes. You're up in minutes. It's pretty simple to use. Everybody go thank @Sendgrid on their Twitter accounts for supporting independent media like This Week in Startups. Let's do an Ask Jason. Boom. Cody, are you there?
Hello, Jason.
Hey, Cody, how are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Davenport, Iowa.
Iowa. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I think it's our first caller from Iowa.
Hey, there's got to be a first somewhere.
Yeah. You have a question for us. Let's hear it.
Well, I'm a younger guy. I'm in my early 20s, and well, I think I've got a pretty killer idea for something to start up here. But well, living in the Midwest, talent's a little hard to find.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of developers that come out of there that are looking for gigs like in the Bay Area.
There's some raw material.
there
Some
is.
raw material. Anyway, keep going.
Well, okay, yeah. I'd love to move out. Hit the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, or New York, or somewhere. But everybody's got a story, and I have my own. So if I'm looking for some good talent to take something that I think is going to be the next killer product in the market I'm looking for and making it a reality, how would you recommend somebody with a limited market and with developers and things like that to kind of take the next step here?
You're going to have a very difficult time because you're going to have two choices. One is you're going to have to make talent, which means either going to a university, finding raw talent, people who are just graduating and have some skills and who have done some things, and then maybe giving them the space to train themselves up on the new technologies that they didn't learn in school. And the other option is to poach. And that means you're going to have to just look for what businesses around you, and just a ranking of businesses that have more than 500 employees. And then go into LinkedIn and then look for web developer, look for HTML, look for CSS, look for PHP when you do your LinkedIn search, and hope that you get some of them. Now, another way to do this is to start a meetup. Meetup.com, great site. There's a tech meetup in New York. There's a tech meetup in LA. There's all kinds of different meetups. Start a meetup and make it, like a This Week in Startups meetup or a startups meetup or a tech meetup in your area. As the founder of it and running a blog for that group that meets monthly, even if you just start with 5 or 10 people, you'd be surprised how if you can just get 5 people to come to a meetup, just because the software is so easy to use and the Twitter account and just virality like we're hearing about with BuzzFeed, 5 to 10 people can turn into 50 to 100 very quickly. And people start up these little meetups all the time. Obviously, I've, in my career, had many different events. And let me tell you something. If you host an event and it's good and people get value out of it, and value is usually determined 2 ways. 1, the speaker. 2, the audience, like who's in the room. And 3, the food. Good food or booze or something like that. If you can nail those 1, 2, or 3, or 2 of those, you're going to do just fine. And that would be the way to sort of just have those people start orbiting you on a regular basis as opposed to you trying to cherry pick them. But I would do both of those. So here at Mahalo, if anybody asks to host an event, I say, yes, you can host an event here at Mahalo anytime. You just need to have one person from Mahalo be your sponsor, which means they're responsible for making sure that, things don't get out of control. But man, they host 2 events, 3 events a month here. And I love it because we have had people come to an event and then eventually come to work at Mahalo.
Awesome.
Because they found out about the place, they met somebody from it, people from Mahalo spilled over to they have a high scale meetup about scaling websites. So, basically you're going to either have to be like a laser sniper, boom, find these people, or you're going to have to use gravity, like make yourself the center of the universe in Iowa. And yeah, there's probably 100 people who listen to This Week in Startups or This Week in Tech or Revision 3 and read TechCrunch and Mashable. There's got to be 100 people in Iowa who are into this sort of internet business startup space. You become the guy. Cody's the guy who brings them all together, and get a speaker there. You just bust your ass to get somebody to come from the Valley or New York to speak in Iowa, and then all of a sudden you got those people orbiting you, and hey, it may even become a business if you charge everybody $10 or $25.
Hey, well, thanks. That's been awesome.
Yeah.
Those are great points, and I appreciate it.
Tyler,
so
you have
much.
any other suggestions?
I
I give 2: the sort of LinkedIn,
Yeah,
find those big companies, or hosting an event.
I wouldn't rule out, at his stage, outsourcing some developers if you can find some good, reputable stuff.
Yeah, outsourcing is not the end of the world. It's a fine place to start. And there's also teaching yourself. I know that everybody's like, I need to find a developer. Let me tell you something. Teach yourself. I know it sounds impossible and, oh my God, it's so difficult. It's not that difficult. You're in Iowa. There's nothing to do anyway, right? I mean,
you can go bowl, I guess.
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so you are going bowling instead of learning PHP. Let me tell you something. Learn PHP. Forget about the bowling. Teach yourself how to do some of this code. Teach yourself, even if you just get a rudimentary understanding of it, at least you can start, and then you can speak with credibility and find developers in the developer forums and stuff like that. So, you know, there's this huge, valley between people with ideas and people who can execute on them. And the people who are going to succeed are the people who can figure out how to cross that chasm between, you know, the knowledge, the great ideas and great execution. You got to become one of the guys who does great execution, and that means you have to have a skill. Do you have a unique skill that you bring to the table, other than ideas?
I'm actually during the day-to-day, I'm an IT guy. I'm a jack of all trades as far as it's concerned. I do know a little PHP. I know I'm pretty familiar with all the different development environments. I'm just, I'm just not good enough to build this on my own, unfortunately.
I suggest you become a user interface, wireframing, front-end designing guy, because that's pretty light stuff to do, CSS, front-end. Just become an expert at that, and then there's a lot of back-end guys who are always like, I need a front-end guy, I need a front-end guy. You sound like you're halfway there on the front-end stuff. Even if you just make very basic-looking stuff, some of the best sites in the world were very basic designs, including Facebook.
Yeah, and there's a real lack of designers right now in the market.
Huge lack of front-end designers who actually understand the business idea, right? So that's the gap there. I mean, I can find a front-end designer or just a designer, but they're not thinking about the
designer. I should
say.
say.
I find a web designer, like, oh great, you know how to do HTML, you know, but they don't know how to do the thing I need them to do, which is think about the business case or think about the user case, So be that guy.
User experience.
It's user UX. UX they call it, user experience. Become an expert. You have to be an expert in something.
Not just the visual.
And then people will start to orbit you, and they'll be like, you have the skill set they want. So now you got to. Next week we'll have a developer on saying, I'm looking for a front-end guy who can do the front-end space. Boom, and all of a sudden you got a match made in heaven. Good question, Cody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, let's bring in Mike Bracco and do the news. Okay. We are here with the news. Welcome back, Mike Bracco.
Hello.
Hello. Give us the first news story.
So the first news story, you actually tweeted about this earlier today, but Cheeseburger raised $30 million. Cheeseburger, the network of sites including LOL Cats and Failblog, raised $30 million in new funding, led by the Foundry Group, and also including Madrona Venture Group, Avalon Ventures, and SoftBank Capital. So this investment brings the total funding for this 3-year-old company to $32.5 million. Cheeseburger has been profitable since launch, and according to Quantcast, has 1.1 million visitors a month. So the money will be used for hiring, expanding internationally, building mobile apps, and also investing in infrastructure. So what do you think of the founder, Ben Ha's ability to build this empire, so to speak, in just 3 years, and also about the $30 million they've raised?
I am blown away. I'll be totally honest. I'm either blown away or about to kill myself because that is extraordinary. I thought I was good at.
That's a lot of lolcats.
That's a lot of kitty litter. I thought I was good at raising money, but holy cow! I mean, I can't imagine going in with a straight face and saying I would like to raise $30 million for funny pictures of cats with text on top of it. But if you look at the Cheeseburger network combined. 178th largest network in the United States, and the site itself is the Failblog is 406th largest site. I mean, he's got 48 sites in the network now, and meme base is 1.7. I mean, it's like a little mini Weblogs Inc. But the craziness is he's raising the amount of money similar to the amount of money we sold for. So obviously there's a big opportunity here.
He must be onto something new component piece of it or something.
There must be some other story here. I mean, international is one thing, but it seems like $30 million. Maybe he took some money off the table, so sold some shares there. So let's assume like maybe he sold, 10 million of it was him selling some of his shares. So maybe it's more like a $20 million raise. But now, if you raise $30 million for the company at a 50 or let's say $100 million valuation or $75 million valuation, that company's now got to become worth $1 billion. I don't know how this becomes $1 billion. How do you have $1 billion worth of cheeseburgers and cats? I don't know. Who's the investors again?
So Foundry Group led the investment, and then also
Foundry Group. Brad Feld?
Brad Feld, yeah.
Yeah, he's actually. Wow. I think he was joining the board. Actually,
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, Bradfeld's a really smart guy. SoftBank is as smart as they come. So there's something going on here that we're not aware of. And I'm looking at their stats right now, and I can't find it because sometimes you don't know what the business is, and you look at the sites that they have. And I'm looking through the sites, and it's fail blogs 53% of traffic, meme base 28, and I Can Ask Cheeseburger is 27, and cheeseburger.com is 10%, and the dailywhat.at, the Daily What is 10%. So that's those 5 sites are 90% of their traffic. I don't get it.
They seem to be somewhat vague about what the actual capital was being used for. They mentioned different things about.
Maybe they're going to buy a bunch of sites. Maybe it's acquisition money. That could be.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They have an acquisition lined up, and this is the first of 2 announcements. They're going to get the $30 million, and they're going to buy something for $10 million. You put that $10 million, it rockets them for the 178th with their network rank. I mean, I think Mahalo's network rank is like 150 or something, so they're right behind us with cats. I mean, talk about wanting to kill yourself. I mean, this is the craziness about the internet. Like, you can build something tremendously valuable, and then you have something else that's just like entertainment. Boy, does it get a lot. I mean, this is what I love. I love the founder of this company. He's a smart guy. But what I love about it is, at any point in time, you can take like somebody's startup that they've just worked on for 10 years or 5 years and be like, yeah, LOL Cats is bigger. Like, for the first 2 years of Mahalo, anytime there was like, hatred going on in the comments on TechCrunch or wherever, they'd be like, yeah, LOL Cats is still bigger. Or whatever. I Can Ask Cheese. I mean, we're bigger now, but that was always very like, that's a low blow. If you ever want to rub it in with somebody, just be like, you know what? I Can Ask Cheeseburger is bigger than Gawker. Can you imagine, like, the LOL Cats are bigger than Gawker? Failblog has 6.1 global people. I'm guessing Gawker has less than 6.1 global. Yeah, it's the same amount of traffic as Gawker. Gawker has 6.5. So basically, Gawker and Failblog, same. Failblog, nobody works on that site, right? Like, does anybody work on that site? I mean, it's just like they're just taking other people's fail stuff and putting failblog.com on the bottom.
Most of it's user-generated, so.
It's all user-generated stuff, also known as stolen. And Gawker has got, 25 people probably working on it to try to make it.
I think they got a decent amount of people working there, though. I remember watching an interview. I was like, wow, really? It's kind of
I wonder about
surprisingly large operation.
When they put they take an image and they put fail blog on the bottom of it. I wonder what the legality of that is. Like, they don't own the image, but because it's comedy or something, are they making a derivative work with it or something? I don't know. Anyway, congratulations to them. I'm never one to be jealous or hate on another entrepreneur for doing something amazing. Like, more power to you. If you can raise $30 million, I'm stoked, because you know what? Then when I come into the meeting and, hit my mic. If I come into the meeting next and I'm like, hey, from Mahalo, a place we can learn anything, and hey, we're the 150th largest site, hey, it's going to be that much easier for me to come in that way. That's always the way I look at it. I never get jealous of people when I saw all these valuations going up, like, Mahalo raised at a much higher valuation than Twitter did in the A round. I used to joke with Evan, like, oh, if you want me to help you with the raising, let me know, And I actually introduced him to the folks that he would have gotten there anyway, but I was like, hey, you should talk to Sequoia. I was getting, Sequoia down there to talk to them, and then boom, it goes to the stratosphere. I love it. Great, sure. As far as I'm concerned, let Wikia get bought for $1 billion. That makes us worth 100. Nothing would make me happier to see Jimmy Wales make some money. Stop having to charge all those steaks and massages to the Wikipedia Foundation.
Their 10-year reunion. Or
10 years of Jimmy Wales. God, every time I see that on the Wikipedia, I'm just like, ugh. They actually have a toolbar that lets you remove Jimmy Wales from the Wikipedia when they have the funding thing.
That's the best part about it.
And then they have another one.
those dimly lit shots.
Oh yeah, he's just like macking on girls.
Yeah.
He probably takes like screenshots. Him and Julian Assange. Can you imagine that being wingmen for each other, like going out trying to pick up chicks? Maybe like a sitcom. Anyway, we're going way off on a tangent. Let's go to the next story.
All right, so next story. This happened.
I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
This happened last week, but I thought we'd spread the love with a little LA tech company, Santa Monica, actually. So fashion photo sharing app Pose raised $1.6 million. Pose.com.
P-O-S-E.
Amazing domain name, which I'm sure you'd be love. Yep.
4-letter.
So Pose is Santa Monica based. $1.6 million from True Ventures, GRP, Founder Collective, and angel investors Dave Morin and Sean Fanning. In addition, this week in venture capital's Mark Suster will be joining the board. The idea is basically you go and you're in a store, you take a picture of an outfit that you're trying on, you tag it with the location, add the price, you could share it with friends, and then they can comment Should you buy it? Shouldn't you buy it? Right now, the apps for iPhone and Android is coming soon. And you've been bullish on photo sharing apps. You had your Jason Nation newsletter on Path, which you're very stoked about. So what do you think about this slant on it, and how will these apps monetize and evolve, do you think?
Well, I think that this, I'm looking at the application right now, I think this is a really great idea for, obviously, women who very much like to share their outfits. For guys, maybe not so much. Tyler, yes, but most guys, no. Most guys are not going to be like, oh, look at my blank label shirt, it designed the buttons. Most people are not that stylish. But there have been other websites where people share their daily look. I can't remember the names of them, but Closet Couture, which was the TechCrunch 50 company, or TechCrunch 40 maybe even the first year.
40.
40, first year. They did something similar where you just organized your closet, took pictures of yourself, blah, blah, blah. So for people who are into fashion, this is the holy grail. To be able to get instant feedback on what they're wearing is amazing. And imagine if you can get these outfits looked at while you're in the store. I would predict that the top users of a service like this, they could actually become sponsored. If I have 100,000 people following me, let's say I'm just an attractive guy like Tyler, or yourself, Mike, and you go into a store and you start trying stuff on and you're sharing, I'm at the Gap and I'm wearing this jacket, I'm on this. All of a sudden you got thousands of people interacting with your look. Well, guess what? You just turned it into a runway. They should sponsor you. They should give you free clothes. With 100,000 followers, they should sponsor me to only wear Xenia. And I'm sure Xenia, if I took a picture every time I wore a Xenia suit and described the suit and the cost, I guarantee Xenia would sponsor me for $20,000 worth of clothes a year. And that's what this app is going to do. They shouldn't sell sponsorships in here. They should give people $1 off at the Gap for every Gap outfit they share, and they have the geolocation of it. So I could just see a million business models coming out of this. Like just that, there's like professionally sponsoring people. Like I'm going to sponsor this model or this celebrity to go into the store and try clothes on and take pictures. I mean, people are getting $10,000 a tweet. Kim Kardashian would be all over this. The first thing I would do if I was Suster is I'd give Kim Kardashian or all the Kardashian sisters 1% of the company, and then tell them just go take pictures of yourself in clothes because they're doing that anyway. Great idea. This is a great idea.
If the user is tagging the clothes with some name, where like this is a cardigan V-neck, at the Gap or whatever, there's some SEO elements. Like image SEO is actually quite big. So if you do a search for cardigan V-neck,
Gap,
yes,
image SEO,
and then you can do
that drives traffic.
You can do some serious arbitrage, like affiliate linkage out to all of these e-commerce sites. In mass. It's
a win for customers. It's a win for the clothing manufacturers in the stores who are desperate to get people in there. Because it's got it could easily have a check-in-like function. I mean, I'm taking the picture in the Gap store. Obviously, you know my location. Why wouldn't I share the location? Amazing. Check in with pose, get $5 off. Try an outfit on, get $5 coupon.
Yeah, I think they're also looking at providing people to monitor the streams in real time, professional stylists and things, and give feedback to users.
Sure. Or I could ask a professional stylist to give me feedback for $1. I gave virtual currency that could be exchanged in real stores or for a discount in a real store or for that. Great idea. Love it. They raised $1.5 million. Good luck to them. I like it a lot. I'm going to download it later. I'm going to start taking pictures of myself. Last story.
All right, last story. We couldn't avoid this one. This is kind of the big story the past couple of days is Steve Jobs taking a leave of absence. Yesterday was announced that Steve Jobs will be taking a leave of absence. This is the second time Jobs has taken one. He did this when he underwent a liver transplant in 2009. Daily oversight of Apple will go to this current COO, Timothy Cook. So do you think Steve Jobs will return to Apple, and what impact do you think this will have on the company?
Tough situation. Obviously, my heart goes out to him, and his family. It's terrible. Cancer's a bad thing, and so, it's almost hard to even think about the stock price, at a time like that. It feels to me like we're all lost. Like we're so in love with these products that actually, like his personal tragedy and is now has to be handicapped by everybody, and the impact on the stock price, and when is he going to come back, and the impact on the iPad too. I mean, it's his life. I mean, he may not be here anymore, and I see all the stories on Tech Meme, and I just don't even click on them. I'm just like, I sort of feel like he's got to get his privacy, and if everybody is so enamored by him and into him, it's I don't know. It just feels like the man deserves a little bit of privacy for dealing with what he's got to deal with, and I sort of feel like he doesn't even have to announce it as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the shareholders know, he's got some disease. They know he's a certain age. He's going to work for a certain number of years before he retires. It's priced into the stock, and that's it. And I think it's just like the hyperactivity of the media to just get into every detail of like, I saw one of the headlines on Tech Meme was like he went to this country for this treatment, and I'm just like, really, we're getting into his treatment now? Like, how much privacy, does he have to lose? I mean, I understand he's a publicly traded thing, he's a public figure, but I just wish him the best, and I don't know, it's kind of a bummer actually. I sort of feel like the media should just stop writing about it. Like, okay, he took a leave of absence, that's it. Just let him take his leave of absence, and when he comes back, we can celebrate his next thing, and I think he's going to be back. He's a fighter.
Shifting happened. I mean, just before I jumped on here, I didn't have a chance to read into it deeply, but they just announced their results, record results for all their financials. So. Yep.
So all those people who sold the stock yesterday based on him, or this morning based on him being sick, are now going to be piling back on to do it. I mean, this is like, really, is this what it's come to? The man's life is, how we value the man's life is how his sickness and announcements of his sickness, move the stock. Like, if you really want to buy the stock and you're an investor, buy the stock and don't touch it for a couple of years. Like, buy it, and 5 years from now.
It's interesting how he's become.
Are you trading the stock based on his?
He's become an icon in in our world of things, and people forget that he got booted out by his own board out of his own company at one point.
Absolutely.
It's so amazing, that transition,
And he was considered not a great product guy. I mean, he was considered like a business guy, and his product. People thought maybe he didn't have all that good of a product sense because the products were so varied at Apple, and he didn't have. But I mean, I think that's probably why he became a great product guy, was because he didn't do such a great job in the early days. Like, there was promise, but he wasn't focused enough, and then that's why he has this sort of singular focus, and he knows, and he just disregards anybody else's advice. Like, put a USB. Well, Calacanis wants a USB port. What does he know? Like, I've been through this before. There's no USB port. I mean, then I got to explain what that port's for. Why should we explain it? I wanted you to play Angry Birds. He's right. Like, my dad will play Angry Birds, and but yeah, the whole thing is just sad, and it's just sad. Like, I don't know. As a journalist, like, and a writer myself, like, I don't have any interest in writing a story about him being sick. Like, I just don't. All these journalists who are writing about it all day long, like, I sort of feel like they should just write, like, hey, Steve Jobs is taking a leave of absence. Here's the leave of absence notice. Obviously, this leaves a lot of questions, but like, what good does it do speculating endlessly on the man's sickness? I don't get it. Anyway, you got another story? Or is that
that's it.
That's it. All right. Great show. Thank you to @Sendgrid. Thank you to @GoToMeeting. If you have a startup question or you're ready to pitch on the Shark Tank, we got to get one of those in. Email askjason@thisweekin. We'll see you all on February 23rd and 24th at the launch conference. Tickets only $400, so it's pretty cheap for startups. And thanks to Jon from Buzzfeed. Great job on the interview. And we'll see you next time on This Week in Startups.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.